Hello guys, I'm back from another video, and today we're talking about what if Belle was from Terraria. So in the last video we talked about how we basically left off almost the death of Bet as you would basically darted away, as you would basically start fighting him. Once, one member of the, Loki family, more specifically, Finn would realize that he had a weapon commissioned for this type of situation. In this case, an adamantite repeater, and with a few, ichor arrows. So, after, grabbing the ichor arrows and would start shooting at the lunatic cultist or the mad cultist, he would basically defeat him. After defeating him, or at least somewhat defeating him, he's not really dead, as Bet would basically, slam his fist into his chest, killing him once and for all. But, because of this, it sort of triggered the Lunar Pillar event. And so, because of this, currently outside, we go back to Izuku, as Izuku would feel the rumbling, as he would fully wake up from his coma. After looking outside and would see the large boss bar saying that the Stardust Pillar was there, he would basically get ready his armor and would tell everybody to get out of there, and would tell, Physis to basically bring in her, familiar members to basically stop this threat. And so they would basically start leaving to basically stop this, this immense threat of the Lunar Pillars. As Belle is basically taking care of the Nebula Pillar first. Or at least I think that's the Nebula Pillar. Yeah, I think it was the Nebula Pillar. As for, Hephaestus would basically wear a brand new armor which was made out of solar armor. As she was wielding, a paladin a paladin shield. Not paladin shield, I meant a paladin hammer, And she would also have the Daybreak Spear. As she would basically fly off to go towards, I think it was the Nebula Pillar, yeah. I meant, Belle was going for the, Stardust Pillar, not the Nebula Pillar, I meant. Sorry about that. Anyways, continue on. As, the Loki Familia would basically come back from their expedition, they would notice the chaos that's currently happening in the city, and would basically go back to, to the guild. Sorry about that. Going back to the guild, and would explain, what they did last time, which, by the way, was a bit concerning. And one member of the, Physis Familia would make it there and would basically explain the whole situation. And even tell them on how the actual thing happened, specifically, the, pillars, being created. And let's just say all of them were basically looking at Bet, as Bet would explain that it's not really his fault, it's more like, in the heat of the moment. But let's just say everybody was obviously doubting that. As for, a certain Loki, she was not really happy about that either. And she would just be angered at, a certain, doggo over there, aka Bet, to the point that she's basically burning a hole into his soul. Yeah, let's just say it isn't good for Bet right now. So, after that, we go back to Belle, as he's currently still fighting, the Stardust Pillar, and would destroy it, and would get its, treasure bag. I forgot to tell that part, but either way, he would basically start moving towards, the not Vortex, I meant the, Nebula Pillar, to basically, fight against it. As seeing all of the mobs basically, charging towards, Hephaestus, Belle would basically come in and would basically carry her bridal style, as they would start fighting, both in sync, and would defeat, the Nebula Pillar. So, after defeating it, Belle would explain that they should try and find the other two, pillars, more specifically, the Vortex and the Solar Pillar. And so, we basically ended off the episode right there. So yeah, so let's continue on with this episode, and so, let's talk about what happens next. As you would basically, currently with I meant Belle got. Okay, starting off the episode great, I guess. So, anyway, continuing on, Belle is currently, flying around trying to find the, next pillar, specifically the Vortex Pillar. As he was flying around, he would basically see the Vortex Pillar basically in the horizon, seeing that the area was turning a little bit, a little bit of a similar color to this. Yeah, this color. Similar to this gem. Yeah. As you would see in the distance, the Nebula Pillar basically doing its magic, as some of the area would basically, just be gone. As several of the people there would basically be either killed by these weird looking monsters, aka the Vortex Mobs. Wait for a second. The Vortex Mobs seem to resemble, a little bit more insectoid. Some of them even having, or at least some of the mobs resembling, the bees, aka, the wasps. God, I hate them. I absolutely hate them. You probably know why. So, as Izuku's, not Izuku, I meant Bell, god damn it. Okay, continue with the, guy who keeps doing, the counter, keep doing that, because it's a bit funny, in my opinion. Yeah, anyway, continuing on. As, Bell is basically seeing all of this, Bell would basically charge in as he would grab, the Nebula Blaze and would start, burning all of them in an instant. Seeing this, they would start, grabbing their laser-like cannons, or at least laser-like guns, and would start shooting at him. Not Izuku, I meant Bell, god damn it. As Bell is currently dodging all of them, Bell would basically start dodging like a complete pro. While he was dodging, he would see a person would jump in. In this case, Lily. As Lily would basically grab her pwn hammer and would basically, throw her, would throw her thorn chakram into the sky and would basically uses it just like, a baseball. And would use the hammer like a bat as it would charge forward instantly, almost gaining so much momentum to the point that, all of them, specifically all of the, the Vortex Mobs are currently just like, goodbye. Like, instantly goodbye. As after doing this, Izuku would say this. Not Izuku, I meant Bell. As Bell would say this. Hey, not nice one, he would basically say. Ash would say, well, you did sort of train me, so, as Bell would say this. but that's all of your skill right there. And I mean, that's your, all of your, all of your hard work over there, right? Ash would say this. Yeah, so, as Bell would say this. So it's not my training, it's more like you did it by yourself. Anyway, continuing on, as after saying this, she would say, oh, alright. And so would basically grab, her, she would basically grab her pwn hammer and would basically start to get ready for another fight. And would see, several Vortex Mobs basically guarding the pillar. As Bell would say this. Hey, Lily, as Lily would say this. Yeah? As Bell would say this. I want you to distract those fuckers over there. As she would say this. Will do. As she would start sprouting out wings, more specifically, steampunk wings. Specifically, the ones that, that are given to, the steampunker. As she would start flying off, thanks to the help of the engines, as the ones that are currently flying, specifically the laser, wielding ones, would basically start to fly away and trying to chase after her. As for Bell, he would just be alone with the, with the Vortex Pillar, as you would say this. Now, let's do this. As you would basically grab, the Zenith, as you would say, now, Blade Storm. As after saying this, the blades would basically charge forward and start slicing through the thing. It would start spewing out a few mobs, but, unfortunately, because it was too, blade stormy, I guess you could say, it would, instantly just like, goodbye, like a shredder at this point. After doing this, Bo would say this. Easy. As, after seeing this, he would see, the Vortex, the Vortex Pillar's, loot bag and would basically grab it. As the Vortex Pillar has been destroyed, as he would start flying off, once again, to basically try and find the last pillar. More specifically, the Solar Pillar, which he was pretty much scared about. Mostly because you already know what it is. Yeah. Fuck the Vortex Pillar. Like, seriously, what the fuck is that? Like, seriously, that thing is freaking hard. Maybe as hard as, the Moon Lord. And please do not, put this out of context anyway. So, continuing on, he would start feeling hot. Not in, oh, I feel so handsome or something like that. No, like, actually fucking hot. He feels like he's burning at this point. As you would say, what the hell? Why is it starting to get hot in here? It's not even the fucking song, as you would say. as you would start to look up and would see the final pillar, the solar pillar. Wait for a second. As he see as he sees not vortex, I meant the solar pillar, he would say, "Whoa, it looks ugly as fuck," he would basically say out loud. As after saying this, he would just look towards him, or at least, nearby, as you would see a large explosion, as this person would basically come out of the explosion, specifically Vetus. As Vetus is currently still wearing, or at least riding on the large golem made out of wood, as she would say, "God, why is that to be paired up with the fire theme pillar?" She would basically say, as she would look towards her, as she would see a few, members of the not Vortex, I meant the Solar Pillar clan. Or I guess you could say that. Or more specifically, Solar Pillar, minions or, monsters. They seem to be wielding spears, swords, and some of them seem to be flying, but basically just sentient ass, meteorites. And some of them, more specifically the fucking centipedes, by the way, seem to be glaring at her. As she would say this. Anyway, she would basically say, as she would basically, go onto the ground, as she would basically start creating more and more wood-like pillars to basically, reinforce herself. As she would start, putting back her armor on, specifically, the wood-like armor that she created, or at least, the wood-like mech, as she would start charging forward and would start fighting, her. AKA, she would start fighting all of the Solar Pillar minions. As you would say this. Sorry, but unfortunately I'm going to be using you as a distraction, he would basically say to, Vetus, even though she couldn't hear it. As you would start flying off, thanks to the help, instead of using his wings, instead he decided to use the black, spot. AKA the pirate ship. As you start flying it, similar to, just imagine Captain Kidd, aka the persona of Ryuji. I think that's his name. It's been a long time since I actually, seen any gameplay about, what was that game? Yeah, Persona 5. So, I think his actual name was actually Ryuji. So, yeah. So, as Ryuji was, not Ryuji, I meant Izuku was basically, not Izuku, I meant Bell. Anyway, continuing on with the episode. So, as Izuku is currently riding on, the pirate ship similar to a skateboard, he would see, the Vortex Pillar basically spewing out lava at this point. As it would be shot off, as Izuku would basically, not Izuku, I meant Bell. As Bell would basically dodge out of the way, I meant. While he was dodging, as he was basically dodging out of the way, he would say, "Damn, this thing is angry." As after saying this, the, large-ass thing would just glare, or at least somewhat glare at him. Even though it doesn't really have a face, it seems to be glaring at him. As Bell would say this, "Alright, ugly, guess I'll just have to bring in the big guns." As he would grab the Daedalus Stormbow and would start shooting out tons and tons of arrows from the sky. As it would start shooting towards, the large-ass, Solar Pillar, as the Solar Pillar would just be pissed. The Solar Pillar would summon in a few more minions to basically help it out. As when Bell sees this, he would start running off away, as he would start firing it instead with the, SDMG. Sorry about that. As when he sees this, specifically, all of these, mobs basically coming out of the, Solar Pillar, he would start grabbing his SDMG and would start opening fire on them. After seeing this, they would start, moving out of the way, as he would say, "Oh no, you don't." As after saying this, he would basically summon in a few, Terra Prisma swords, and a few, Tempest Staff, what are they called? Yeah. Sharknadoes. As these Sharknadoes would basically start firing off, sharks, obviously. As after doing that, they would basically slam into them, as some of these sharks would start biting some of their limbs off. Currently, outside of the radius of, the Solar Pillar. Some of the members of the, Aphysis Familia are currently fighting them, as they're easily beating them thanks to the help of the, swords that they were given. Specifically, the weapons and armor that they were given, specifically the ones that, Bell and also Vice made for them. So, as they're currently fighting these things, he would basically say, specifically, a random member, he would say, guys, as one would say this, alright, what do you want? As they would see a large ass monster, which resembles, the regular old, like, shock troops, specifically the ones that are wielding spears, but one of them, or at least one of them, seems to be riding on some sort of creature, as the rest seem to be, rallying around them. Almost like, an army to its soldiers, as it would seem to be talking in a weird language, as they would start charging towards the Vice Familia members. They would start going into a turtle position, I guess you could say. It's basically like where they, put their shields up on top of them, and also put some shields in the front, basically to block out, arrows, something like that sort. And not only that, they would basically, just move out of the way, seeing that it was charging towards them. As thankfully they dodged out of the way, as because they had, pole arms on their side and some, tridents, they would start to stab all of the rest of these, mobs, specifically the ones from the solar pillar. After doing that, she would say, specifically a random female member would say, alright, we got him. Now we just need to deal with that thing. As all of them would start glaring at this weird looking monster, which seems to be more intelligent, as it would charge forward with its spear in hand, almost like a jousting match, as one of them would say this, I got this, as he would basically grab something from his pocket. More specifically, a pistol. Not really a pistol, but more like a goddamn rifle, aka the flintlock, the rifle from the game, as he would start using musket balls, more specifically, I think they were, I can't remember the actual musket ball's name, let me just check. He would use a glorified, musket bullet, or at least I think that's the name, as he would shoot it towards, the guy, as the rider would basically fall off. As for the monster, it would start to kneel down because it doesn't have a master, as he would say this, gotcha, as he would shoot the, musket once again, and it would shoot through the head of the, of the monster that the other monster was riding on, as he would say this, hey guys, as all of them would say this, yeah captain, as one of them would say this, let's go, we should probably, keep, getting these monsters out of here, we don't want to get them, near the civilians, as all of them would agree, and so would basically go off to basically stop the rest of the monsters, sorry about that. So, as currently back with Izuku, not Izuku, but Bell, god dang it, as Bell is currently still fighting with the solar pillar, still pretty much tanking all of the hits. As Bell would say this, that's it, I'm done. As you would say this, I'm choosing violence today. As you would basically grab, as he would grab the stinger, as it would shoot out, the missiles from it. And so would start exploding it, as it would slowly dwindle down its, the pillar's health. What the f... After a while of basically using the stinger, it would explode, ending the lunar, event instantly. As Bell would say this, alright, I should get ready now. After all, soon he's coming. After seeing the treasure bag, he would basically grab it and instantly start going back to, to the, going back to, not Loki, I meant, the Hestia familial household. Seeing the rest of the members there now, basically there, just like resting, as Bell would instantly start grabbing some potions, and some pretty high quality ones, to be more precise, as one of them would say this, specifically Vitas. Bell, what are you doing? As Bell would say this, it's not over yet. I think it's better for all of us to get ready, because he's coming. As all of them would perk up at this, as Izuku would say this, not Izuku, but Bell. Everybody get ready, because this is going to be the battle of our lifetime. And so, after Lily hears this, she would basically start getting ready for this battle, because she doesn't know what the heck is going on, and she doesn't want to know what is going to happen. And so, after doing that, she would basically wear some simple, just imagine what she wore last time, specifically, the a sort of like the Honda's like I meant Hassan of Serenity type clothing, and under that was the clothing, or at least the cloak of Hassan of the Cursed Arm. After wearing this, she would say, "Hey, Belle, what is going on?" As Belle would see this, "Get ready because the Moon Lord is coming." After saying this, one of them would say this, specifically, Lily. What the heck is this, the Moon Lord or something, she would say, as Belle would say this, "Yeah, get ready." As one of them would say this, specifically Vitas. "Wait, do you mean that Moon Lord? Don't tell me that he's..." As Belle would say this, "Yeah, better get ready." As she would say this, "Right." As she seems to be a bit shaken, as she would grab, her blade of grass tightly. Now in its, most powerful form. Specifically, the Knight's Edge. So, as she's currently wielding it, she would say, "So, do you feel that?" As Belle would say this, "Yeah, I can feel it." As the reality, or at least their vision, will start to almost feel blurry, almost like it's glitching out. As the world would slowly turn and slow down, they can clearly see this, as they would see several of the birds nearby slowly, going off. Several of the people would be in there, in the, guild currently. Let's just say everybody is currently, looking around, as one of them would say this. Is anybody seeing this correctly? As all of them would just look over and would see a few birds flying away, but they seem to be quite slowed, as one of them would say this. "I don't know what the hell is going on, but I don't like it." As one of them would say this. "Me neither." As all of them would start to feel a little bit of fear after seeing this. As Belle would say this. "Better get ready." We go back to Belle currently, okay? As one of them would say this. "Yeah." As all of them are currently ready. As they would slowly hear something in the distance. As a huge ass explosion would appear, as it would slowly retract and basically go back into the explosion, almost like it's imploded, as a gigantic creature with half of its body just torn off, specifically where the waist used to be, as it seems to almost have an octopus-like face, as it seems to have eyes on its hands, similar to a Japanese yokai. I can't remember the actual name of it, but just imagine it just like that. As it has a third eye, and seems to have, a beating, exposed heart. As Belle would look over and would see right beside him, the Moon Lord has been awoken. As Belle would say this. "Alright guys, get ready, because it's going to be the battle of our lifetime." And so they would basically get ready their weapons, and the Moon Lord would just look over them, almost like judging them. Judging these little ants. These ants that don't even have the chance, or even worthy of being in his presence, or being, worthy of his attention. And so, we basically end off the episode right there. I'm really sorry that I'm going to be ending this episode right off there, because, currently busy with school now, because, it's Monday tomorrow, so yeah, unfortunately I'm going to be ending this episode right off here. And probably, the next episode of this, What If, is probably going to be the end of this series. Maybe. So yeah, I hope you liked the video, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!